Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. If you're anything like, well, pretty much everyone today, you're probably carrying around this profound, almost invisible heaviness. We live in a world that's just defined by heavy tension, right? We're constantly pressured to optimize our routines, maximize our productivity, and somehow flawlessly manage every single outcome in our super busy schedules. It feels like an endless uphill battle. But today, we're going to explore the incredibly liberating philosophy of Alan Watts. It's deeply rooted in the Eastern traditions of Zen and Taoism, which he popularized for the West. We're going to examine a concept that completely flips this exhausting modern narrative on its head by asking you to do the exact opposite of what you've been taught. Seriously, I want you to think about your own personal experience with stress for a second. Have you ever noticed that no matter how hard you push or how intensely you try to manage your life, you often just end up feeling burned out and anxious? Well, what if the ultimate antidote to all this over-optimization is actually a shocking paradox? What if the real secret to finding happiness and peace is realizing that, in the grand scheme of things, nothing you do actually matters? I know, that sounds totally jarring at first, but stick with me here, because this idea holds the key to some incredible relief. Section 1, the weight of everything, focusing on overthinking and anxiety. Let's just slow down for a second and really acknowledge this feeling. Think about the sheer exhaustion we feel day in and day out when we try to control everything around us. We're practically carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, constantly bracing for impact, trying to micromanage our careers, our relationships, our futures, the whole shebang. That weight is exactly what causes the deep, chronic fatigue so many of us experience. And it leads right into this absolutely vital concept. Stop trying to fix yourself. We're constantly bombarded with the message that we're broken, right? That we need a new habit, a new diet, a totally new mindset to finally become perfect. But Watts' philosophy suggests that this constant, desperate need to fix ourselves is actually the very root cause of our overthinking and anxiety. By constantly trying to fix yourself, you're operating from the baseline assumption that something is fundamentally wrong with you. And man, that just creates a perpetual, exhausting state of stress. So, the crucial point is how this mindset actually manifests in our daily lives. Look at the burden of forcing it. We're talking about fearing the future, taking life way too seriously, constant overthinking, anger, and frustration. These aren't just random bad moods that hit us out of nowhere. These are the direct symptoms of swimming against the current of life. When we try to force every single outcome to match the rigid picture we have in our heads, we generate this massive burden. We get angry when things don't go our way, simply because we mistakenly believe we were supposed to be in control the whole time. Which brings us to Section 2, the freedom of nothing, where we'll be deconstructing the paradox. Okay, take a deep breath, because we're shifting gears from that heavy tension into a profound sense of relief. When Alan Watts talks about nothing matters, he is absolutely not talking about some dark, depressive surrender. He's not telling you to just give up on life. Actually, it's the exact opposite. He's guiding us toward a profound liberation. Let's deconstruct this paradox a bit. Acting as if nothing matters isn't nihilism. It's the removal of ego and self-imposed burdens so you can experience the freedom of simply being. It literally means letting go of the manufactured, stressful meaning we attach to every single interaction and every single goal. It's realizing that the universe doesn't have a rigid checklist for you. And when you remove that self-imposed burden, you are finally free to just exist, to breathe, and to experience the present moment without constantly judging it. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of that philosophical shift. You are not living life. Life is living you. Think about how radically this changes your perspective. You're shifting away from the role of the stressed-out controller who has to make absolutely everything happen, and you're stepping into the role of an active, joyful participant. You are an expression of life itself. When you realize life is happening through you rather than by you, the immense weight of having to orchestrate the entire universe is immediately lifted right off your shoulders. Moving on to Section 3, the illusion of control and trusting life instead. Now you might be wondering, if letting go feels so incredibly good, why do we desperately try to force things all the time? Why do we fight this natural state of being? Well, to understand this, we have to look directly at our deep-seated fear of what hasn't even happened yet. So I ask you, why do we fear the future? It's a question we rarely stop to ask ourselves, isn't it? We fear the future because of the illusion of control. We suffer from anxiety because we mistakenly believe that we can perfectly map out what happens next. And because we think we can perfectly map it out, we feel entirely responsible when the map doesn't match the unpredictable territory of reality. But the truth is, the future is just an abstract concept. It doesn't exist yet. The fear is really just your mind desperately trying to control the uncontrollable. So instead of spinning out into all that anxiety, we need to adopt this mindset. Stay calm and let the universe deliver what you deserve. It's time to give up that illusion of control. You don't have to aggressively force every single door open. If you can just soften your grip, if you can find some peace in simply trusting the natural unfolding of life, you'll find that things often work out exactly as they're meant to, totally without your frantic intervention. This brings us to Section 4, the art of letting go and the practice of non-resistance. This really leads us to the very heart of this explainer. This is where we transform these big ideas into actual action. And I want to be very clear here. Letting go is not about being passive or lazy. Rooted in the Taoist concept of wu wei, or effortless action, it's actually a highly empowering, active state of mind. It takes real awareness and courage to practice this. Let's ground this airy philosophy into something concrete. Letting go is defined as an active state of non-resistance, trusting the universe and life's natural flow without trying to force the outcome. It's a highly practical method. It's making the conscious decision to uncurl your fingers and release that tight-fisted grip you have on your daily life. It means when an obstacle appears, you don't immediately smash yourself against it. Instead, you observe it, you adapt, and you move with the natural flow. And the result of that practice is beautifully captured by this idea. Nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean you won't experience physical pain or everyday sadness, but it means that when you truly let go of your fragile ego and your rigid expectations of how people supposedly should behave, you become untethered. You become pretty much impervious to the petty anger, the slights, and the deep emotional hurts that usually derail you, simply because your sense of self isn't stubbornly attached to those external events anymore. Section 5, flowing instead of forcing. Let's look at the river metaphor. To really lock this concept in, I want you to think of your life as a fast-moving river. As you're in this water, you basically have two choices in how you're going to expend your energy. You can either fight the current or you can float. What's really interesting about this comparison is the stark contrast. On one hand, forcing life is literally like swimming upstream. It's exhausting. It generates tension, anxiety, and anger because you're fighting the entire momentum of the water. But on the other hand, letting go is floating. It brings relaxation, trust, and effortless flowing. You still get down the river, but the journey is characterized by calm rather than this futile, exhausting struggle. It's so clear when you look at it this way. Why choose the exhaustion of forcing when the peace of letting go is readily available? Let's see how this builds into highly practical steps you can use the exact moment you feel overwhelmed. Number 1, stop overthinking and catch yourself forcing. Awareness is always step 1. Notice when your jaw is clenched and you're mentally demanding a specific outcome. Number 2, don't force anything, just breathe and release the tension. Literally, physically let it go. And number 3, let life flow and trust the process. These are your real-time tools for stopping anxiety right in its tracks, right in the middle of your busy day. So, let's bring it all together and summarize the real-world benefits of this mindset. The wisdom of living fully means you stop trying to fix yourself because, hey, you're not broken in the first place. It means you trust life instead of exhausting yourself by fearing an unwritten future. It reminds you not to take life too seriously. Play your part, for sure. But remember, it's a dance, not a battle. And finally, step back and let the universe deliver. This philosophy isn't just some abstract intellectual exercise. It's a direct, actionable path to profound relief and genuine happiness. Which leaves us with one final essential question to ask yourself as we wrap up this explainer. Are you ready to stop forcing outcomes and let life live you? I really want you to sit with that thought for a moment. Imagine the sheer lightness you'd feel if you just surrender to the present moment exactly as it is without needing to change a single thing. The river is already flowing. The only question is, are you finally ready to stop swimming upstream and just float?